Hey guys, it's Johnny and Gail again today, and we wanted to come to you today with a kind of a different idea for a video. In that the other day we were in Georgia. We were just outside of Chattanooga, Tennessee, in Georgia at a campground, and our generator went out, and there's a video coming about that pretty soon. And I'm out there working on it, and I'm frustrated, and and all of a sudden this gentleman walks out and he goes, "Johnny?" My brain really just spun because I'm thinking, who do I know here, and all that kind of stuff. And all of a sudden I just turned around and he's like, "Is it really you? Is it you and Gail?" And it just kind of took me off for a minute, and I had to immediately forget about the generator, forget about being frustrated, and kind of be like, "Hey, who are you?" You know. And this guy's like, "We've been following you on YouTube for years." And we woke up this morning, we're like, "That's Freedom Tour. That's Johnny and Gail." And we were completely, that had never happened to us. That was the first time that had happened really to us at a campground.
Yeah, and so what they were asking was this the motorhome that we've seen in their previous videos? What happened to the one that was wrecked? What happened to all this? So we actually haven't put this motorhome in actually a lot of the videos for whatever reason. It's just happened that way. You've seen the inside, but you haven't really seen the outside. So the whole purpose of this video is to kind of talk about what type of RV that we've had, and why we've changed it. Because some people feel like once you get one that you have to stick with that forever. And to me, when we first started this, it's always a learning curve. So you start somewhere, because especially if you don't really know what you're getting into, and you can do a lot of studying and you can see what's the best type of motorhome that works for you and your family or whatever.
At that time.
Right, at that time. But also, when you start living in it, some things can change. So what you think might work for this particular thing, once you get in it, might not work, and you might be like, yeah, that's probably not the best idea.
Yeah, when that gentleman walked out, he was like, "Is this the rig where the front end fell off?" Or we got into the wreck and the whole front end broke off, and like, no, this is a brand new rig. And we realized that we hadn't really updated you guys. We kind of did a little bit on when we bought it, but we kind of really updated you on this new rig, and then why we got this compared to the last one, and all
the
that.
Different upgrades and changes and things that we've done. So we started out in 2014. We bought a 2000 Fleetwood Southwind.
Had the American flag on the back. We just loved that.
It was a much older motorhome, and it was a gas coach.
Right.
And so that was just what we were starting out with, just to see if we even like doing it.
That's the key, is that we didn't want to invest a lot off the bat when we didn't even know if this was the lifestyle. We had sold our house, sold we were going to sell everything we owned, put the rest in storage, and it would be a terrible thing to get out there and find out that we hate it, know. So we wanted to get a coach, first of all, that we could afford. I mean, that was not when I say afford, I mean there was a affordable price, just in case we didn't like it. So we kind of went with a low price and something we knew we could afford and we could probably get our money out of. And so we found this Gas Southwind.
And we only had that one about 6 months, because at that point we realized that we really loved it. We loved living in a motorhome. We loved traveling across the nation. We loved all the things. But this particular motorhome had a lot of flaws. So like one of the air conditioners didn't work, which was actually the front one. So in order to be cool, we had to go in the back bedroom.
I forgot about that.
There was there was issues with the floor in the shower.
Oh yeah, it felt soft.
There was just a lot of things that wasn't great. It wasn't a great motorhome.
Well, when we got it,
longevity.
When we got it, remember we took it to Florida, and we stopped in Atlanta, outside of Atlanta, and we put water in the white tank, and water went everywhere. And we realized
So,
that
it was
we were in major trouble. But the biggest thing it did, guys, little tip for you, is I wanted to start off here to make sure it's something that she actually enjoyed doing.
That was something that, exactly, that we love to enjoy. So then we had that one about 6 months, and then we went to a 2003 gas Newmar Mountain Aire. And
So-
that one, we loved everything about that motorhome. That motorhome was amazing. We loved everything. We never had a stitch of trouble with that motorhome.
Right.
The only downfall that it was that we learned as we were going was that it was gas. And because we were putting on so many miles going across the nation, because what we do is a little bit different than what most full-time RVers do. Most full-timers go to one place and might stay in that area for a month, 6 weeks, whatever. We're in one area for about a week, and then we move on. So we put a lot of miles on that, and so as a gas motorhome, that's not always the best way to do it. So we realized at that point that we needed a diesel. And so
the issue with the gas is that if you're a weekend person, first of all, I want to go back to the Southwind, the Fleetwood Southwind, right? Is that even for somebody who just does this once in a while and wants to go camping in it, we had so much fun in that thing, and it was excellent for that. And what it did is it taught us that we could love this lifestyle. And then she wanted something. If you're going to not have a home, and this is your home, then as a man, as a family, you want your wife to have something that she enjoys being in, and that's why we picked the Newmar, and it was every bit of that. I didn't really care about fuel mileage. I don't buy into all that really. It's not built on the same frame. It's not built on the same structure. It cannot handle the over-the-road miles of the beating you up. We felt everywhere we went, especially, believe it or not, California. California beat our bodies up inside. It literally, everything just bounced. It didn't have the suspension. It didn't have the air ride. It didn't have the heavier frame. It just wasn't good for what she was saying, for what we do, for traveling lots and lots of miles. I would say to you, and it's kind of what she was alluding to as well, that if you want something really nice and you're a weekend warrior,
I'm actually even more than that. You can still be a full-timer and live in a gas motorhome. But like I said, sometimes you just don't put that many miles on it. You can live in a motorhome and be somewhere for 6 months. You know, some people stay in parks all summer long, and then they work there, and they're the camp host and whatever. So everything looks a little bit different for every person. This was just our experience. And
before we moved into, we knew that we had done a lot of research by now, and we knew we were going to have to move into a diesel. But to be just transparent, I was very afraid of the diesel because of all the horror stories you hear out there, all the maintenance and all that kind of stuff. And I ran across the thing that put me over is I ran across a guy, just a normal guy that had a diesel, kind of an entry-level diesel, and he was talking. I asked him, well, what about the maintenance, and what about he goes, I do all my own maintenance. I change my oil. I'm like, oh, it never dawned on me that I was doing my own maintenance on the gas. Why can't I do my own maintenance on the diesel?
So then we went to the Newmar, loved that, realized, like you said, we needed a diesel. So then the next one, we actually bought it at the wrong time of the year was the problem. So we bought it in January in
I'll
Florida.
put a link up there about that. Yeah.
And so when it was right before the big RV.
The RV show, Tampa RV show.
And so they didn't have a lot of used ones yet. We should have waited till after the RV show, but we got it at the beginning. And so because of that, we didn't have a lot of options. We were in a time crunch. We needed to be in Texas at a particular time, and it was just like all really bad timing.
We rushed it.
And so we ended up with a Forest River Tsunami. 2004 Forest River Tsunami, which was a decent motorhome.
Fantastic.
But we had a lot of issues with that motorhome, unfortunately. I mean, actually, really right off the bat,
there's a few things. If you watch like I said, I put the link in there.
Yes.
They didn't tell us the whole truth, and we had some issues with all that kind of stuff. But I, real quick, to tag into what she's saying, is timing really is everything, and being patient for the right thing at the right time. We got caught because we had to have something, and so we bought. But I will say that this was the Tsunami of the Forest River. Forest River is known to be an entry-level diesel coach, and it's cheap, and you should probably stay away. And if you watch any of our videos,
and they're actually known for a lot of their fifth wheels,
yeah, exactly. But in the diesel world, they're known as entry-level diesels. We actually got what was a Tsunami. It was a really unique coach, and that was before they decided, before Warren Buffett bought the company, and they decided to move into the entry level stuff. They were building the most expensive, most updated. We had stuff in that coach that was far ahead of its time. The look of that coach, here's the thing, I loved it. It was my favorite thing. I was so excited. But here's the thing, she didn't, and I don't. Looks and the motor was great, and all that kind of stuff is good. But what really mattered in the end is that when you're full-time living in a motorhome, it has to have a layout and a living area that you're comfortable with.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what didn't you like about the?
Just the layout, really.
Yeah.
I mean, that just really, it's hard to explain because
it
you
was,
don't see
it. There's 3 slides, only 3 slides.
So we didn't have opposing slides, so that we lost a lot of room that way. But also just like the way the couch was and the way the TV was, it was just not.
TV
it wasn't
was up front.
User friendly for a family. So I mean, even though it's just the two of us, it just was not. It wasn't. I didn't love it. I didn't love the layout. But then, just like I said, there was just a lot of issues. It just seemed like every time I turned around, the inverter was going
the inverter
out,
went bad.
the steps went out, which is
in order to get to the air filter, we had to take the bed out of the back. Going around the bed was a major pain.
Yeah, the
Aqua
Hot
was,
that's really expensive if you have issues with that. So
that
really,
was
it needed a whole new one. But we were just kind of maintaining it till we could, either get a new one or trade that one in. We ended up trading it in.
Yeah.
So that was our third one.
Really quickly, I'm trying to give more details about the layout because I think the layout is such a big deal. The TV was up front. It didn't feel like home. It wasn't comfortable inside. There was a time where she was sitting in the bench, which she doesn't really like the booth. And she was sitting in the booth, and she literally said, I'm tired of this. There's literally nowhere I can sit where I'm comfortable. And that's when it just triggered me. It doesn't matter how much I liked it, no matter what it looked like on the outside, no matter how cool it was. We had people actually walk up and say, never sell this coach. It's the coolest looking, most unique. Yeah, but if mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy.
Well, paint's paint.
Paint, yeah. Right. That's true.
Because it had a cool tidal wave on the side. So, paint's paint, but if it's not comfortable and if you're broke down more than you're on the road, that's a little extreme.
Yeah, that was, but still, it was a lot of little things went wrong.
A lot of little issues. So then we decided that when we were in Montana this past September, or actually it was the end of August, and we would look there, and we ended up finding the Winnebago Tour.
Wait, she always goes and makes it too general. This is how cool this story is. We're driving down the interstate, and this is sitting on the lot of, what's the name of the dealership? I'll remember here in a minute.
Oh, Bretz RV.
Bretz RV in Billings, Montana. And we're driving, and she goes, there's your motorhome. And I'm like, yeah, right. And I look over, and this is sitting there. And I'm like, there's no way.
As soon as we walked in, we both looked at each other, this is it. Because we've had so much experience looking, investigating, looking at different layouts, because even when we weren't technically looking to buy a new one, we still would go to different motorhome shows or just lots and just see, or RV shows, whatever, and just see what layouts there are out there, just to see what we like, and kind of put things like on our top 10 list, like what we want, what is a no deal, what is, different things like that.
Yeah.
And so one of the biggest things that we loved about this, well, there's multiple things, but the layout in here, and we'll have to put a link to our
last video, the walkthrough
that we have in it. But the layout in here is so perfect because the TV is not up in front on the dash like most motorhomes are.
So you're sitting in a chair looking like this.
So because we live in it and we run a business out of it, there are a lot of times where we're not doing the camping lifestyle, if you will. So, we might spend actually more time in someone's driveway or in their yard rather than at a campground. So our living in it might look like a little different than more of a full-time RVer. It's very important what our layout looks like, and so this one is more of like a living room. So it has the TV and then the fireplace underneath. The couch goes into a V shape, so you're looking at the actual TV straight ahead rather than looking up at it.
And there's a fireplace under the TV.
So but plus it still had the Aqua Hot, which this Aqua Hot was actually put in here brand new.
They put a brand new one in for us. Yeah.
And so that was a huge deal. And then just a lot of the different things that we were looking for, the quiet air conditioners, because our previous one was so loud.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I think it's just really cool just to see the different steps that we took as far as what we investigated, what we found out, the mistakes that we made, and what we thought worked for us. And then once we got there, we're like, this doesn't work for us.
And one of the things that for me, one of the things that I was concerned about is going with the tag axle, as you can see behind us. I had always stayed away from that. Even in the Tsunami, it was a single axle. I was just concerned about the tag and all that, and I realized that was all. It's just as you develop and as you grow in this RV world, you start realizing that first of all, the first thing you really have to realize is that everything breaks. Yeah. Everything breaks down.
Yeah.
You got to get over that. You got to get over the fear of it. You just take it as one challenge at a time.
And it doesn't matter what year it is. It doesn't matter if it's brand new or if it's really old. It really doesn't matter. It's how you maintain it. Maintenance is huge on these things. And then, life happens just like in a house.
But to not be afraid of it is the real thing. Is to really, if you think that you're going to buy something that never breaks down, then you're setting yourself up for failure. It's part of the thing. As a homeowner, as an RV owner, you have to realize that there's going to be breakdowns and problems. This one right here is a 2011. So we went from a 2000 gas Southwind to a 2003 Newmar gas to a 2004 Tsunami. Tsunami, Forest River Tsunami, to a 2011 Winnebago Tour. Here's some of the things that I really loved about the Winnebago that meant the most to me was everything is full size. The furniture's full size. It's not the normal RV 3/4 size. The door's wider. The way that the frame is, where compared to the airbags, so you get a more comfortable ride. All those kinds of things. There was just a lot of little things, and I still like the paint job.
But also, when we were doing our research, we also discovered that when the market crashed in 2008, it really affected the way they made these motorhomes.
Yes.
And so 2008 and 2009,
and even some 10,
and some 10s were really bad as far as the quality of how they made them. So if you look at an 2007 and you compare it to an 2008 or an 2009, you can see how it's really gone downhill. So by about 2010 and then for sure 2011, they started stepping up their game on quality.
Yeah.
And so then from there out, then their quality progressively got better.
And you can tell those things by like cabinets. If the cabinets feel like presswood, like you can put your thumb through
walls,
it, or the walls, if you knock on them, you can tell.
So you can definitely tell, even in more of the top of the line
Yes.
coaches, you can tell the difference, and you can see it in an 08 and 09. So we made a mental note of that when we were looking to be careful of not falling into that trap, that because
Right.
you know,
But we'd
quality is
also
a big deal.
made a decision not to go with the Grand Tour, because the Grand Tour was all about opulence and all about everything's automatic and everything. And I
that
also,
breaks down.
that's the opulent
Right.
things are the things that's going to break. If you're somebody who likes those things, and then go for it, you know. But just realize, if that means something to you, it's more about what fits you. But for me, I didn't want to be fixing automatic window shades when I can just pull them down myself. You know, the things like that. This rig we've already had some issues with it. Like I said, we have the generator break down, and I'll do a video. It didn't really break down. It lost a relay switch, and they took 4 hours to figure it out. But I'm not bitter. I seem bitter.
And $700.
$700 later. But I'm fine. I'm fine. What was the other? We are deaf. This is one thing that I was so concerned about when I bought this rig. This is the first rig that we've had that had to have the diesel emission system on there, and sure enough, right off the bat, while we were in Arizona, it went bad, and we had to replace. I'll put a video link on there, and we had to replace the pump, and it turned out to be a big old fiasco. That was expensive, a little problem too, but we had it saved up because we knew that this was an issue that might happen as far as breakdowns. That's part of the thing, so you prepare for those things.
But you learn as you go.
Yeah.
And so that's the whole purpose of this video, is to let you know all the things that we've learned, all the reasons why we've chosen the different motorhomes that we've chose.
The point of this video is to say to you that it's a process. It's a walk. It's walking out. It's a process. Start where you can. I think a lot of the mistake that a lot of RVers make is they wait until they research and they buy this rig, and they don't even know if they're going to enjoy the lifestyle or not. You know, so I always say, don't wait till someday. Go get you something and enjoy that, and then move up. And our friends KYD, Mark and Trish Leach, they would always say, hey, start where you are and enjoy life now. Don't wait till someday. Enjoy it now. And then yesterday we were watching a video from Less Junk, More Journey, and one of the things that they said that I thought was so true is that you start with the end in mind. That when we got this, I knew this coach, that 2000 Southwind, I knew that it wasn't long term. It had a goal. I had an end in mind, which was to help to see if it's something we could do. It was low price. We could get our money right back out of it and not lose a lot of money. And each one of those things we started with the end in mind. I will say this: when we got the Tsunami, I said these words: "This is our forever coach." And immediately Gail said, "Don't say that."
Because I knew that it was not forever.
Don't say it's a forever coach, because so I didn't even say that about this, even though there's nothing that I don't love about this coach.
Right.
We cannot ever say it's our forever coach, because things change, life changes, and we're all walking this out, and it's a process. So whether you start off with a gasser, there's some people, if I was just doing it on the weekends or once in a while, I would probably have stayed with the gas coach. It's really up to you, making the best decision with what information you have at the time, and then realizing that information grows and you can grow with that. So we just wanted to take a minute here and do a video. We know we hadn't done one together in quite a while, and just tell you, our process and from the 2000 Forest River 2000 Southwind all the way to the Winnebago Tour, and gosh, This is my dream coach right here. I'm so glad that we got this. So
Yes.
Good job. Comment below. We'd love to hear from you as to your journey. What did you start off with and what do you have now? Or if you'd like to leave a comment below, if you have any questions, we get a lot of questions as to what do you think about this coach and what do you think about that coach, and I answer almost every one of the comments. But you know, so if you have a question, feel free to ask. Also, you can join us on Patreon, or just go to our website johnnyrowlett.com, and we have t-shirts like this, Put God in Your Country, our logo of our hat right here. We also have new t-shirts right now called Camping Life t-shirts and Camping Life Bibles. So if you would like to have any of those things, just go to johnnyrowlett.com and go to our shop page. Everything's on there. You can join us on our tour. We called it the Freedom Tour, and you can just click right there on there's a whatever page that jumps up at you and says sign up for our newsletter, and you can join us like that, and you can even become a monthly partner that way if you'd like to. We just want you all to know that we're grateful. Just going all the way back to that conversation I had with that man outside of Chattanooga, how cool that was. He was asking me all kinds of questions and about, well, you know, what about this and what about that? And I realized this guy really does know my life, and I'd never met him before. How crazy was that? And when Gail walked out, he goes, "Gail, is it really you?" So we realized that there are people watching, and we just want you to know that we're grateful for it. God bless you all. Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.